Welcome back to F1 2016, guys. We are here for the American Grand Prix. We must have had someone be very pleased with our performance at Japan because we've got a sponsor bonus, and now we're going to hear from Chris, our R&D engineer.
Hey, good to see you again. The factory sent over the parts that were looking good on the rig. They're being fitted as we speak. Have a look at the report.
Good luck reading the report because that is not in ruddy English. I ain't got a bloody word on what that actually says. Anyway, so we're getting the upgrade that we fitted in Japan about the chassis weight, so we lose 6 kilograms in the chassis weight, and we've got our downforce upgrade as well. So all in all, we should now be looking to be the 4th fastest team on the grid so far, overtaking Williams just behind the big 3 of Mercedes, Red Bull and Ferrari. I like Circuit of the Americas. The track in Texas, been a mainstay on the calendar since 2012. Red Bull have upgraded their car, so they're now looking to be the biggest competitor to Mercedes, I think. I don't know how close they're going to be now. We're losing our rivalry. In fact, no, I've lied. We've gone over. Red Bull are now the fastest car. So that's going to make the fight for the Constructors' Championship a little bit more tasty because that's who we're trying to overtake at this moment in time. So we shall see how things boil over. We're now a lot slower than them, but I think, maybe 1 or 2 final parts on the car. So here we go. Speaking of the final parts, getting used to all the new bits, track acclimatization around Circuit of the Americas here in Texas. Beautiful stuff across the line for the purple lap. Exactly what we want. Obviously, 4.5 seconds slower than Vettel, but it's the track acclimatization. You're doing it just for the points. Here we go. Tyre wear test. Beautifully done once again. 90 out of 105. Purple score. Exactly what we want. Get out of the way of the McLaren Honda as it powers past us there. And looking at the wear on the tyres, we did 7 laps on the Super Soft and they were less than 50%. So that's alright, That's not... It's not too bad. I skipped off the qualifying test program because I was off the pace by a country bloody mile. Problem that we have there is we were 2 tenths behind Kevin Magnussen, who I always like to refer to every weekend, and he was on the soft tyres and our lap was super soft. So that's not a very good sign. An interesting note is Daniel Ricciardo is 3.5 tenths quicker than the nearest, near enough to the nearest Mercedes. So he's showing the pace there. He's showing the pace, but it looks like there that we're heading into qualifying.
Just letting you know that we've had the team's expectations through for the upcoming qualifying session.
So here's our goals from Emma, qualify 8th or above, and obviously beat Raikkonen, so, there we go. So we're still sort of fringe top 10 is the goal because we're the 4th fastest team, and it's really ruddy wet, is what I could tell you for Q1. Never really driven this track too much in the wet, so we're going to come across the line any moment now. It's going to be a 1:57.7. It's good enough for 4th. That was right at the start of the session, though, so it got a lot lighter and a lot drier. Well, not drier, but the conditions lightened up a bit. We're on intermediates for this final lap. We might have got through anyway, but our delta is near enough 4.5. It probably is going to be 4.5 by the time we accelerate out of the final corner across the line, and I think that says right there P3. So that's much more of what we wanted. Here we are in Q3 now. We skipped off Q2. We got through into Q3, no problems. Here's our 1 and final lap as we get it a bit wrong through the final corner, or the final couple of corners. Open up the DRS. It's a 38.4. Puts us 7th on the grid. Does beat our objective, though. So our objective was 8th. We got 7th. And K-Mag, full 8 tenths faster than us. Sitting in 5th place, outdoing the Williams, which is exactly what we want to see. But we've done a couple of guys there. We've only got 1 Ferrari, 2 Mercedes. So there's a couple of guys disjointed. Daniel Ricciardo is somewhere right down the field. I can't remember how that happened. Must have happened in Q1 with the tyre situation. But it's going to be an interesting one. I like the Circuit of the Americas. I like the American Grand Prix. Wasn't a big fan of the track to start with, but it's grown on me. I like the flow of the circuit. The first sector is, if you get the first sector right around here, it's fantastic. So we're going to look to carry on the momentum from Japan, build up a good few number of points, but I think we're best off not delaying it because any moment now it's going to be time for the American Grand Prix.
In 2012, America's on-again, off-again love affair with Formula One finally seemed to settle down with the completion of this wonderful racing facility here in Texas. Since then, we've been treated to some incredible races, including, of course, that classic wet-dry championship decider of 2015. We're racing today then in Travis County, Texas, where 20 corners and speeds of up to 200 miles an hour await us on this magnificent racetrack. It's 60% full throttle with plenty of good opportunities to pass, especially through the 2 DRS zones into turn 1 and at the end of the long back straight into turn 12. What a race we have in store today. With me today is Anthony Davidson, a man who knows this circuit quite well. Why do you think, though, Ants, that this Grand Prix has now found such huge success since returning to the calendar in 2012?
Well, full credit to the race promoters. They have a Grand Prix in a part of the country famed for its love of motorsport, and they do a fantastic job of advertising it to the right crowd, and then satisfying them when they're here with excellent facilities. It also tends to help when the circuit itself is good, and that's definitely true here. The layout is interesting and it produces some exciting action. Hosting a thrilling title decider like we had in 2015 wouldn't hurt either, so the pressure's on then to maintain that kind of quality here today.
Okay, you can brake late into 1 because of the incline. It's a slow corner though, so make sure you stay out of trouble. Good luck.
Can't guarantee staying out of trouble, Mr. Race Engineer, but he is very true. Turn 1 is nice and tricky here. Long uphill braking after a DRS zone. So I think we're going to have a quick look at the strategy. Those super softs, like I mentioned, 7 laps when I was doing it in practice. Looked alright. I mean, the one stop actually almost looked viable based upon going super soft to mediums. Those mediums are going to be really worn out at the end. You see the lap time falling away. So I was just kind of looking at, you know, what is going to get me track position and what is going to allow me to run as fast as I can. I mean, you know, the one stop on paper is a 2-second benefit, but you got to think at the end those mediums are going to be dying. So I think in the end, I can't remember how I keyed it, to be 100% honest with you, but I think the one stop potentially viable, but it depends on how well we hang on to the back of the cars in the first stint, because obviously the point of the one stop is track position. If we can't get track position, then we might as well go faster on fresher tyres, as it were. So we're going to look to head to the grid. It's a sunny Grand Prix. You know, no rains and no sort of surprises going to be thrown our way, unfortunately. But it's going to be good to see. You know, I like racing around here. It's a fun track, and I'd like it. You got a nice flow in first sector. You got the interesting run into turn 1. You've got the almost Maggots and Beckett's knockoff, as it were. As you know, you go around those sort of lines, and you can just see myself here. I was contemplating flicking between the strategies, and I think this is where we're going to see. We're going to go back over to a super soft tyres. It's just going to be faster. You know, looking at that drop off at the end, comparing the lap times. This is why you do tyre wear tests, people. This information right here about the time drop off is crucial information that you're going to need for race day. It's a good track. It's a good track. I like it. Plenty of overtaking opportunities, as Davidson said. You've got the back straight down into 12, which I think we utilise a few. We're going to look to utilise a few times. And of course, turn 1 is always very interesting here. Uphill braking, multiple different lines can be taken into the corner. And it's Magnussen. You know, Magnussen is showing. I hope Magnussen, because Magnussen, so many times in qualifying, can do a really good job, but then just doesn't deliver in the race, and it's so frustrating. Because he's done all right, you know. He's got a couple of podiums. Think Austria, think Belgium. You know, but here we go. We're going to look to card off the formation lap as we go to the grid and build to 2, 3, 4, 5 lights. And the Grand Prix of America is underway. Sitting the slipstream K-Mag. It looks like one of the cars next to me, the McLaren of Buttons, had a fantastic start. We're going to look to dive it down the inside into turn 1. Get it slowed down. Don't take out the Mercedes. Mercedes 1-2. Vettel is 3rd. We've made contact with Max Verstappen, or he may have made contact with us out of that corner. Regardless, we are now heading through the opening section of the left-right corners, trying to stick to as close to Sebastian Vettel as we can here, because it's now important to ourselves to not get lost in the shuffle and try and cling onto the back of these guys up ahead of us there. Up in the 4th place, Jenson Button is 5th. I don't know where Magnussen, if you look in the bottom left, has fallen down the pack as he went wide in turn 1. This is lap 2. This is the straight I was talking about on the run to turn 12. We're in the slipstream with Sebastian Vettel. Look at the extra speed that we've got compared to the Ferrari. We do top out at 212, but we're going to send one down the inside. It's a beautiful corner. Run him out of the road, block him off, not allow him to get the drive. And we are now up into the podium position behind the Mercedes boys of Rosberg and Hamilton. We're now going to jump onto lap 5 now. We've kept Vettel behind us. We're getting offered a strategy change to go to soft compound tyres. While doing that, that's distracted me into the next corner. We've run it out wide. That's giving Vettel a wonderful opportunity to stick it up our inside. Here we go to the double left-hander. We go late on the brakes. Get it through. We've run out wide, gone deep in the corner. Button snuck through on Sebastian Vettel. So now we go to the triple right-hander, and Button, unfortunately wide on the marbles, couldn't look to benefit out of that scenario as we retain our 3rd position. But that, you know, you can just see the Mercedes have driven off into the distance, and unfortunately I think the best we're going to look to hope to get today is 3rd place. So here we go, it's lap 7, we're running it out wide out of that penultimate corner. The Mercedes nearly got a 10-second gap on us. We are coming into the pits because it's time to get rid of these super soft tyres. I think you briefly saw the name Daniel Ricciardo flash up on mediums. Is obviously fighting back after whatever his tails and turmoil was in qualifying. Raikkonen goes past us on soft tyres. Don't know if he's pit already. We're going to go to another set of super soft. 2 seconds by the Renault boys. Doing much better this time than what they have done previously. Where are we going to look to slot into the pack is going to be the question. Looks like we're going to come out 12th between Gutierrez and Carlos Sainz. And it looks like, I think a couple of guys just ahead of us, if they had started on super softs, were going to be fresh, hadn't done the qualifying times. So I think they might peel off from in front of us there. So a lot less to worry about. Here we go, end of lap 8. There's a yellow flag, actually, as we look to come out that double left-hander. We jump on board. It's Danny Kvyat, I believe. One of the Toro Rossos has suffered a left rear puncture, and that's obviously brought out a VSC, and it was Danny Kvyat. So now we're going to have to sit and look at this. We've got to sit behind the struggling Toro Rosso. The delta is going up at all the times. A couple of the guys that were around us have peeled into the pit this lap. We're only just going to get, well, not so much let go, but thankfully they peel in. But our delta is so plus. I like to run that. Obviously, you run the delta to as close as you can. We're now going as fast as we can. We're up behind Gutierrez. But annoyingly, just look up the left there. As we get closer, you're going to find that Button has been able to jump us due to the issues in the pit stops and the VSC of us getting held up by the Toro Rosso with its flat left rear. So that was frustrating, and that meant that we lost out on where ideally we shouldn't have left out on our fresh tyres. You know, you'd think the undercut was going to get us in front, but no, unfortunately not. We were stuck behind Gutierrez, and look, the VSC is just that the AI was so slow, and I know just having to stick behind him was infuriating. And look, he just goes out wide. I squirt the throttle a little bit, and then we almost get completely stuck and nearly get penalised. We had to lose so much time, nearly a plus 3 seconds on the delta. Button has disappeared down the road now. We should have been on his gearbox if we were allowed past Gutierrez. Rosberg's out of the Grand Prix as soon as the VSC ends. What happened there? So you've got a Ferrari and what I can imagine is Kimi Raikkonen as he was still running there. VSC ends, and well, as soon as he plants it, his Mercedes engine blows up. Well, that's unfortunate. We jump back to ourselves as we completely outbrake ourselves against Vettel. The Force India sticks his nose where it wasn't needed, but thankfully we've got a fantastic run out of that corner. Open up the DRS. Annoyingly though, the yellow flag for Rosberg's blow up. And we've just got to wait and wait. Now it goes green. Now we send one down the inside. We've outbraked ourselves again. Gutierrez tries to get through, but his tyres are too worn. We use our fresh grip, fresh rubber, and faster car to get through. And now we've got to close back down on Jenson Button and try and claw our way back up the field. It's now lap 14. We haven't had a chance. Button's pulled away from us annoyingly. Raikkonen, of course, pit from, as you would have seen earlier, the leader of the race, has fit mediums. So he's definitely going aggressive. Well, not so much going aggressive. He went soft, mediums. He's going to be aggressive at the end. Low fuel on a set of super softs, I imagine. We're trying to keep Raikkonen behind us here. We kept Vettel behind us earlier. He tried the outside line through there, and it has not proved to be successful. It's now lap 16. We're a few laps later, and now we are coming in to get rid of this set of super soft tyres to go on a set of mediums to go to the end of the race. It just appears that our pace has completely vanished. You know, we did okay in the first stint and kept a lot of guys behind us and had a good gap to the midfield runners, but now we don't appear to be anywhere. We're falling back off Button, who, you know, I felt we were on level with, and we've got to be held now in the pits ever so slightly because of the Haas. So, you know, it's just not gone our way recently. Ricciardo's jumped us now because he went from medium to soft tyres. I think he came in, so he's now legitimately ahead of us on track as he's done a pit stop now. We're still ahead of Sergio Perez though, so we're going to go to the end on this set of soft compound tyres and hopefully use the fresh grip to maybe close the gap to Button. I don't know if he's pit or not at this juncture as of yet. It's now lap 21. Alonso is ahead of us still on the mediums. I think he's got one more pit stop to make, as he did the same as Raikkonen, soft to mediums. We're too busy with our mirrors being full of Max Verstappen, who we made contact with at the start of the race. Max Verstappen topping out too early. He's down our inside. He's gone a bit too tight, and more to the point, he's left me too much room on the acceleration. We're going to keep it down the inside of the next right-hander, take the curb, run him out of room, don't give him any chance to accelerate, leave Max Verstappen behind us, and we defend our 7th position here as we go through the double left-hander. Getting it all wrong, admittedly. Lap 22, we're going to come out the final corner. Max, again, still sitting behind us on those medium tyres. He must have lost a lot of time at the start to still be behind Daniel Ricciardo. And we, as Jeff tells us, 41 seconds at the back. Max Verstappen goes down our inside into turn 1. We squeeze him out. Can we? Oh, he's done us down the inside, though. Beautiful run from Max. You know, you would have thought we would have had the better opportunity by going wide, but Max clearly getting the car straightened up before us. Here we go into the hairpin at the bottom of the hill, onto the back straight, heading towards turn 12. We're going to open up the DRS. The Red Bull is one of the slowest, if not maybe the slowest, the car in the straight line. Don't get me wrong, our Renault engine isn't great, but with slipstream, DRS, rich mix, we're gaining. Late move down the inside of Max Verstappen. Luckily, he sees us coming, and we again just run him out of road. Don't give him any choice, and we're now up into 7th position once again. Might be one of the best positions for us to look to finish, though. Lap 24, here comes Max again. This is the best battle on track at the moment now. Forcing Max to go around the outside. He's not going to be as far ahead as we had to make our lunging move. Brake just before the 100-meter board. Dropping down the gears, just getting it slowed down. Max clearly just not thinking about trying to go for the inside move. Here we go, end of lap 25. There's only going to be 3 laps remaining in the American Grand Prix. Fernando Alonso still hasn't pit, so he must be going to the end on those mediums, and I don't know where our pace has gone. Max got the DRS, goes to the inside, see him in the mirror there, pops his nose up. We've gone a little bit wide, we turn in, Max is on our inside, contact with Verstappen, we spin up our rear wheels, we've both gone round. Perez has gone through to 7th place, Max is facing the wrong way. What the hell happened there? Let's look at a replay. So Max got his car most of the way through, we've gone deep, we're a full car's width ahead, and Max has gone into us there. If you look at that from his perspective, we spun the wheels up to get it turned all the way around. Max on the racing line on the exit of turn 1, but it cost us 7th place. Perez goes through, we'll finish 7th. Magnussen's on our rear to finish 9th, and an 8-9 for Renault is certainly not what I expected from 5th and 7th on the grid, but it's what we're going to have to accept, unfortunately.
Can't complain about that one. That was an excellent drive.
I mean, you might say it was, engineer, but I wholeheartedly disagree with you.
Welcome then to the podium, our top 3 drivers. What a great effort from them today in a very difficult race.
So there you have it, the 8 and 9 for Renault. Daniel Ricciardo 1 stop, Kimi Raikkonen 1 stop, Alonso 1 stop. So the soft to the mediums, or the mediums to the soft, clearly working out. And annoyingly, we're 77 points behind Lewis Hamilton with 3 rounds to go. So we are out of the running for the World Drivers' title. That's the nail in the coffin. The only guy who can beat him now is Rosberg. So we need to switch our attention to defending 3rd place from Kimi Raikkonen. I think Max is too far behind us to try and challenge us there. So we need to focus on finishing 3rd in the drivers and helping K-Mag try and climb up the standings to secure 3rd in the constructors for Renault. Because we're still trying to chase down Red Bull. You got to remember that. I don't know if we're going to see it now or if we're going to cut over to nope, we're in the paddock here. So yeah, annoying one, very annoying. Obviously the contact with Max at the end looks like you can blame him. You know, he looks as if he was taking the racing line. I was there, so that dropped us down into 8th place. But pace of the car just wasn't there. I mean, we got points, you know, so points, you know, you can't complain too much. And now we head over to Mexico next, which obviously is a very power-orientated circuit, so I don't know how we're going to perform there. But guys, thank you very much for watching. Leave a like if you enjoyed and commenting feedback down below. Would greatly appreciate it. If you want to be the first notified about the content coming to the channel, hit subscribe, enable them notifications, and I will see you all next time.